The year is 1989 and Flynn, the CEO of Encom, is telling his son all about his adventures in a completely digital world known as the Grid. When he was younger, Flynn created the Grid and spent some time on it because he thought it was a beautiful world. There he met a brave warrior called Tron, who showed him amazing things like disc battles and fast cycles. However, Flynn had responsibilities in the real world, so he created a duplicate of himself called CLU to manage things in the Grid. Working together, Flynn, CLU, and Tron created a system where all information, including the system itself, was free. Eventually they also found a miracle in the Grid, but Flynn refuses to tell his son what it is and promises to finish the story another day. Sometime later, news outlets announce the mysterious disappearance of Flynn. The Encom board members say that since he lost his wife, Flynn's behavior had been erratic, but they aren't exactly trustworthy because they're eager to regain control of the company while Flynn's parents take care of his son. The boy is bitter because he thinks his father has abandoned him. 20 years later, Flynn's son Sam makes his way through the night streets and reaches the Encom tower, where he uses a device to hack the door lock and sneaks inside. Then he makes his way upstairs and he tricks a security camera before running to the room with the main computer. He starts hacking this as well, unaware that he's accidentally set off an alarm and a guard is coming for him. Meanwhile, a board meeting is being held where the new boss announces their new main product, a secure operating system that will hit the shelves in a few hours. They'll also be charging for it, which horrifies Alan because it goes against everything his old friend Flynn based this company on, but his protest is ignored. At that moment, a video of Sam's dog starts playing on the screen, making the boss unable to access the system. When their technician finally gets to check, he realizes that someone has uploaded their software for free on the internet. Sam is very pleased with himself, but he's found by a guard that begins chasing him until they reach the roof. Finding himself cornered, Sam jumps as he activates his parachute, only to get stuck at a traffic light. After some struggle, he frees his body from the harness and lands on top of a taxi, which drives him around until Sam falls. By then, the cops catch up to him to arrest him. A few hours later, Sam pays bail and returns home, which is just a shipping container transformed into an apartment. Suddenly Alan shows up and congratulates Sam for his latest trick. Apparently Sam plays a prank on the company every year on the day of his father's disappearance. Then Alan reveals he still has his old pager because Flynn told him to even sleep with it, and he just got a message coming from Flynn's office above his old arcade shop, which is a number that hasn't been used for 20 years. Sam shows disinterest because he's still angry at his dad, but Alan calls him out for his attitude. The night before Flynn disappeared, he told Alan he had made a huge discovery. Alan thinks Flynn would never disappear like that and something happened to him, but Sam doesn't believe him and kicks him out. Before leaving, Alan gives Sam the keys to the arcade shop. Looking at his dog's face makes Sam feel guilty and he ends up going to the arcade. There's nobody inside, so he decides to try playing some Tron, but when he inserts the coin it falls right out, causing Sam to notice some weird markings on the floor. He moves the game and discovers a secret doorway that leads him down a passage and into a control room with a computer. Sam immediately begins using it to search for clues, unaware his actions have activated a large laser behind him. This laser suddenly emits a ray that digitizes Sam and sends him into the Grid. As the floor moves under him, Sam is shocked and overwhelmed by the amazing world he's seeing, so it's easy for the guards to grab him and add him to a line of other captive programs. It seems nobody here can tell he's a human user and not a program. A weirdly shaped vehicle takes the prisoners to see another worker, who checks each of them and decides if they'll be derezzed, meaning killed, or they'll be sent to the games. Thankfully Sam is chosen for the games, but when another program gets the same fate, the guy runs and self-derezzes by using an in-ground fan. Afterward Sam is sent to the armory, where the sirens remove his clothes and give him new armor plus an identity disc. A siren called Gem tells Sam to survive before he is taken to the gaming grid where they play Disc Wars. A huge crowd cheers for the players while the boss watches from his box with the company of his assistant Jarvis. As soon as the first match begins, Sam's attacked by his enemy's disc, which he dodges just in time. In the room next to his, he's terrified to see what happens if the disc does hit. Sam has no choice but to use his own disc to fight back, and after a few failed throws, the enemy breaks the floor under Sam. He manages to hold on just in time and climbs back to see the opponent coming for him, so he waits and breaks the floor at the last second, making his enemy fall and winning the fight. Sam's next opponent is quite aggressive, so he slides on the floor to hit him quickly before escaping from his room, which gets Jarvis' attention. After jumping around, Sam makes it to the room of the final round and discovers his opponent is Rinsler, who has 2 discs. A fierce fight ensues during which gravity keeps changing and soon Rinsler overpowers Sam. However, when Rinsler sees blood on Sam's armor, he realizes he's a user and makes him face the viewing box above where the boss asks Sam to identify himself. As soon as Sam says his name, he's taken to the office, where it's revealed the boss is a youthful Flynn. Sam can't believe he's seeing his dad again and Flynn doesn't recognize him at first, which he blames on the passing of time. The man checks Sam's disc but isn't impressed by the content of his memories, and when Sam asks if they can go home, his request is denied. Now the truth comes out, this isn't Flynn, it's CLU. Next, Sam is sent to the light cycle arena, where Jarvis riles up the crowd while a mysterious figure watches from above. Sam is put on a team of programs that will have to battle CLUs while riding light cycles, which are made entirely of energy. Unfortunately, Clue's team has a lot of experience, so no matter how fast Sam's team goes, one by one the programs are eliminated with a variety of techniques. Sam is thrown off his cycle, but before he can face CLU hand to hand, the figure intervenes with a light runner and takes Sam before fighting a few enemies off. Then they blast a hole in the wall to escape off-grid into the outlands where other vehicles can't follow. Once they're safe, the figure introduces herself as Cora and takes Sam out to a secluded home on a hilltop. Inside, Sam is finally reunited with the real Flynn, who instantly recognizes Sam. After father and son share a warm reunion, Cora shows Sam that Flynn has been teaching her about the real world through things like board games and classic books. Later during dinner, Sam shares a bit about his current life before demanding to know what happened to his father. Flynn reveals that he had been working with Tron and CLU to create the perfect system, and the miracle they eventually found was the birth of something called ISOs. These are algorithms that evolve on their own without needing user intervention and have the potential to resolve various natural mysteries. They also have biodigital genetics. Flynn never had seen something like that and was impressed, but CLU saw them as imperfections. Since his program goal was to create the perfect system, CLU performed a coup, ambushed Flynn and Tron, and took over the system. Tron was supposedly derezzed and Flynn was forced to flee into the Outlands while the ISOs were destroyed in an event known as the Purge. The only way out of the grid is a portal, but it has a very strict time window and it closed soon after Flynn got captured by CLU. He got stuck inside the grid, and since 8 hours in the grid equals only 30 seconds in the real world, it means Flynn's absence of 20 years equated to nearly 20,000 here. If Sam's here, then the portal must have opened again, so Sam wants to rush back to it to escape with his dad, but Flynn refuses. Since Flynn never sent a message to Alan, he thinks it's all a trap from CLU and that he'll be waiting at the portal to steal Flynn's identity disk to use it to manipulate the portal itself. A frustrated Sam hides in his room while Cora takes a secret object from one of her books. She brings it to Sam and explains this will help him find Zeus, a program that used to help the ISOs during the Purge, and rumors say he has access to any place in the grid. While Sam sneaks out, Flynn is dreaming of his days with his family and wakes up to discover his son is gone, so he tells Cora they'll be going after him. Sam is now using Flynn's light cycle to enter the city, where he trades the vehicle for a cloak to keep a low profile. A guard finds the old light cycle weird and follows it to trace its origin to Flynn's house. The guard sends this information to CLU, who immediately flies there only to find the building empty. As he looks around, CLU remembers the day he was first created and how Flynn promised that they would change the world together. Thinking about this makes him furious and he throws a tantrum. Back to Sam, he's suddenly found by Jem, who takes him to Zeus's club where a large party is happening. There he meets the very eccentric Zeus, but after some chatting about potential plans, Zeus says the game has changed. At that moment, the club is infiltrated by CLU's soldiers, who were alerted by Zeus for the sake of business. Sam steps out to fight them and soon Cora arrives to help him while Zeus watches from a platform and shoots his cane. Eventually the duo is overpowered and Cora's left arm is derezzed. Suddenly Flynn shows up too and uses his admin powers to derez most of the enemies before taking Sam and Cora to the elevator to escape. A soldier uses an extension cord to capture Flynn's disk right before the elevator doors shut and sabotages the lowering mechanism in the process. While Zeus derezes the soldier and gets the disk for himself, Flynn hacks into the elevator and manages to make it stop before it crashes. After Flynn scolds Sam for his recklessness, the trio boards a solar sailor that should take them directly to the portal. As they get away, Flynn takes Cora's identity disk and rearranges the corrupted material, allowing her arm to regenerate. He also shows Sam that Cora is the last ISO in existence. Afterward CLU arrives at the club and Zeus offers him a deal, Flynn's disk for control of the city. CLU pretends to agree, but once he has the disk, he leaves with his guards and blows up the club, derezzing Zeus and Jem. Moments later, Sam tells his dad more things that have changed in the real world, like the invention of Wi-Fi but also the death of his grandparents. Flynn admits he feels guilty and would give up his inventions to spend time with his son again. Soon Cora wakes up and tells Sam that Flynn saved her during the Purge. They bond through conversation and Cora asks more about the real world, so Sam tries to describe what the sun looks like for her. Suddenly, the solar sailor is intersected by a large carrier ship, so the trio runs to hide among the cargo units. There they're shocked to discover that a bunch of programs are trapped and being taken to be reprogrammed into an army for CLU. At that moment Rinsler shows up and begins to investigate the sailor, but Flynn quickly recognizes him. Rinsler is his old friend Tron, who was reprogrammed to be CLU's henchman. To create a distraction, Cora gives Sam her disk before running to confront Rinsler, who immediately captures her and takes her away. Flynn and Sam use this distraction to escape. Meanwhile CLU goes to his tower to store the disk. Flynn and Sam arrive at the tower just in time to watch CLU give an announcement to his army. He plans to use Flynn's disk to allow passage into the real world where they may perfect it. Wanting to stop this, Flynn and Sam agree on a plan and split up. While Flynn goes to the light jet hangar and reprograms a guard to get access to one of the vehicles, Sam makes his way into CLU's tower. He fights off a bunch of guards and intimidates Jarvis, allowing him to retrieve Flynn's disc. At that moment Rinsler shows up holding Cora as a hostage, but Sam fights him off and with Cora's help, he defeats him by knocking him off the edge of the tower. Then Sam takes Cora and leaps off the tower, using a wing-like parachute to glide to the ground and meet up with Flynn to escape in the jet. CLU returns to the tower to find Rinsler climbing back inside and immediately dereses Jarvis for his failure. Then he and his team jump off as they create their own light jets. While they fly over the sea of simulation, Sam takes over the jet's turret to open fire on CLU and his people while Cora dodges attacks with great piloting skills. Rinsler flies over the light jet and makes eye contact with Flynn, which allows Rinsler to regain his memories of being Tron. He cries out that he fights for the users and collides with CLU's jet, making him lose the vehicle and changing hand to hand. Unfortunately CLU is too good and forms his jet again, flying away while Tron sinks into the sea. Afterward, the trio finally makes it to the portal only to find the pathway blocked by CLU, who confronts Flynn and insists that all he was trying to do was what Flynn instructed him to. Flynn apologizes to CLU and says that perfection is impossible because it's unknowable, but CLU wouldn't know that because Flynn didn't when he created him. This revelation incites CLU to attack Flynn, who yells at Sam and Cora to continue to the portal. Sam doesn't want to lose his father again and attacks CLU, but Cora interrupts the fight and pushes Sam away while CLU takes Flynn's disc. As the pathway splits, CLU discovers the disc is actually Cora's. Flynn had swapped his with hers before arrival. Furious, CLU jumps the gap between the gate and the portal, but Flynn performs a special technique that allows him to rejoin CLU into him. With childhood memories flooding his mind, Flynn watches with pride as Sam holds his disc into the portal and says goodbye before finishing fusioning with CLU. Sam and Cora manage to escape the grid right before the fusion causes a massive explosion that destroys the entire place. Once he's back in his father's office, Sam saves the Tron system onto a microchip that he puts around his neck. Then he pages Alan and tells him that he was right about everything. He also says that he'll take back Encom and would like Alan as chairman. Afterward, Sam meets with Cora and says he has something to show her before taking her to see the sunrise for the first time. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.